Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome, you made it to Eugene Cannabis TV. Here we are in the beginning of July, on a hot summer night, and we have with us tonight two Ganja girls from the Emerald Empire Hempfest. Both of these girls were Ganja girls last year at the 2012 event, and going to be again at the 2013 event. So welcome back, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
We have Purple Haze on the end, and Ms. Blue Magoo next to me here, and you will definitely see them out at the Hemp Fest along with some other Ganja girls. And our Ganja girls go around with the donation containers, and we decided, we thought, well, we need to get some people asking for donations, because we have a free event, and so we don't charge admission, but I like to say it costs a lot of money to put on a free event. And so we thought, well, if we're going to have people asking for donations, they ought to be pretty girls, because they're going to get more money than ugly guys, you know. So that's what we started with, the idea, and we've never made any big money on it, but the main thing is the ambiance, the great ambiance to the event, and the girls themselves have a good time. The first year we tried it, that was the result. The girls all said they had a great time, and both of them now are saying the same thing, and that's why they're coming back again. So we have 3 contests. We have the one that raises the most money, best costume, and most popular, I think, if I remember correctly. So we have the 3 contests, the prizes for each one. Interestingly, in our volunteer meetings, security to protect the Ganja girls has been a real popular crew of people wanting to get on. But well, I got so many people that can cover that one. So, but we do need a lot of help. So if you'd like to volunteer for the Hemp Fest in any aspect, either as a Ganja girl or security, we have all kinds of things. Any what you're comfortable with, we could definitely need you. This is the time when we see the event coming up on us, and we start thinking how many people we need, and we start looking at how many people are showing up at meetings, and then we start getting a little bit nervous. But yeah, the day of the event, they come out of the woodwork, and so it'll all work out. It always will. We do need key people, what we call crew members, so some people that are willing to go the extra mile and be a crew leader. So we do need those caliber of people, so please apply. And always go to our website, which needs to be updated, but it will be soon, emeraldempirehempfest.com. And so this is, you guys were there last year, yes. And I can't remember how many we had last year, but anyway, it was a great time. And I can't remember, did you one of you a contest, or did you guys win last year? Or?
Oh,
we
there was
just
another
had the one
girl,
contest.
Elise.
Yeah, Elise.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I remember now. She's the one that won, and yet we were hoping for some of the other guys, because we thought the other girls were better personality and really more into it than the one that did win. But anyway, that's the way it worked out. So this year we had 3 contests, so that will
even it out.
Even it out a little bit more. Yeah, you bet. And yeah, so that's great. Then our goal is to have a calendar. We were hoping that we could have 12 girls, and then we could actually do a calendar as a fundraiser, produce a Emerald Empire Hemp Fest 2014 calendar and featuring our Ganja girls. And so hopefully we can still get to that aspect at some point. But so anyway, you guys are cannabis supporters, obviously. So,
definitely.
Medicinally, recreationally, both? Or?
I strongly believe in medicinal.
And medicinal.
Yeah, I always say it's all medicinal, you know.
There's nothing wrong with recreational use either, but it definitely
well,
helps instead of taking those pills for.
Yeah. You know. Well, I look at it as it's all medicinal, because you know, you may be thinking that you're using it recreationally, but it's actually helping you. So it's
that's true.
You know, it's like me. I self-diagnosed myself as suffering from PTSD.
Oh.
But who knows? But But I think it does. Well, I think it helps because my big trauma was my divorce, my first divorce with 2 kids, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna start on that again. But I went through hell with that, and I believe that I'm still suffering from that, and I believe that cannabis is what.
Well, didn't they
helps
just
me.
pass it that they can PTSD is actually
Yes,
being treated for?
yes. Thank you for bringing it up. PTSD is now a condition for the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program, and that's big news. We tried going through the system twice prior to this, and were turned down. It's very frustrating to us because we had plenty of evidence, great testimony, and yet they turned us down.
I've personally seen it worked. So.
Yeah, definitely, and it does. And I think New Mexico, if I remember correctly, was the first state to do that, to actually add PTSD. But anyway, we went through the legislature. Interestingly, after the last year's elections, things have changed a whole bunch. Things are happening all over. Oregon had a legalization initiative we didn't pass, but we lost with 47%, which is an incredibly good showing.
Yeah.
Getting closer.
Yes, and 2014 they're coming back, and there will. I don't know if you guys know about this or not, but there's 2 initiatives have been filed. Money has been promised for signature gathering, and it's supposed to be a done deal. And it's just 2014 it will be on the ballot again.
Are we going to be doing signatures at Hemp Fest?
That's a good question.
That'd be a great idea.
Yes.
I'm not sure yet. What the deal was is that when they start up an initiative, they have to gather 1,000 signatures as part of 1,000 certified signatures as part of the paperwork. Well, they gathered those signatures, and so that's been filed. And so whether they're actually gathering now for the regular initiative, I don't know, and whether they will, and whether more importantly they'll be during the event, I'm not sure yet. But if it's up and working, we will definitely be gathering signatures. We'll have the Willamette Valley normal booth there, and we'll certainly be having it there, gathering signatures. And if nothing else, definitely telling people about it and know that it's coming.
Yeah.
Interestingly, chronic pain, is the most common thing that people are using medical marijuana for. It's about 60%, and it's interesting. It's not only in Oregon, but nationwide, it's right about the same, 60%. And so people tell me that they say, well, it doesn't really stop the pain, but it makes the pain bearable.
Dulls it.
Yeah, it dulls it.
Temporarily relieves it.
Yeah. I like to say that I think when I'm stoned, I can think better. But then again, am I stoned and I just think I'm thinking better?
You just realize you're thinking better.
Right. But I think it helps. And I look at creativity. Look at musicians have been using it for years. And so I'm thinking that it really stimulates the creativity.
It does.
And so, it's good and bad and everything. You can overdo anything, but there have been no documented deaths of overdose. I've got a dog that can prove that it won't. I had a dog one time that ate a half dozen marijuana cookies, and he was one messed up dog.
He was happy.
Yeah, but happy. So.
I had a dog that ate a bunch of butter, and she slept for a whole week off and on, but she'd randomly get up and just run around, do figure eights around the backyard, and then she'd fall over and go to sleep for another couple of hours.
Wow. Well, years ago, I met a truck driver in Reno, and he had a dog named Quarter Pound, and I said, why do you call him Quarter Pound? Does he like hamburgers? He says, no. He says, I had a quarter pound of pot in the truck, and he says, he ate it, every bit of it. He says, I thought I was going to kill him. He said, he slept for a week. And so that's kind of like what you're saying, he affected him for a week. My dog he was fine the next day. Of course, they were chocolate chip cookies, which is bad news. Chocolate's bad for dogs. But that night before he went to sleep, he ended up throwing it up, and it was a big dark brown mass. So I think it was the majority of the chocolate sweet. So he was fine in the morning, but you have to be careful. There can be overdoses, I did some work for a lady one time, I had a German Shepherd, and I had some butter that a friend had given me, and I had it in the pickup, and I'd forgotten about it, and I went outside, and here this German Shepherd was eating something, and I said, Charlie, what do you got? And he had the butter, and he had one, it was 2 steals, and he'd eaten one, and he was getting ready to eat the other, and I got it away from him. And I had to leave in about 20 minutes, and I didn't say anything to the lady. And so I didn't see her for a couple of days, but when I came back, she said, after you left, she says, Charlie started acting very peculiar. She said he was acting not very coordinated. He was not very coordinated. He said about 3-4 hours he was okay. But it can happen. So anyway, we got to get wrapped up and get into our next second segment. But I would definitely appreciate the Ganja girls coming down. And that's, remember, you look for them. That's Purple Haze and Miss Blue Magoo. And they will be at the Hemp Fest along with a bunch of other beauties and a whole bunch of fun. And it's going to be something to observe and enjoy. And so be sure to show in. It'll be the biggest hemp event, at least in this end of the valley this year. So be there, and we'll see you then. So thank you.
Peace.
So as Dan said, my name's Sam Chapman. I just graduated from the University of Oregon last spring, and since then I've been living in Portland. But I got my start in marijuana activism and drug policy activism here in Eugene. I actually was doing a sociology project on movements and issues and came to a rally just like this, except it was a normal rally. I was interviewing people, and eventually someone said, "You need to go talk to that guy right over there, John Walsh." And I talked to John and did some interviewing with John Walsh, and he asked me, "Sam, have you ever heard of Students for Sensible Drug Policy?" I said, "John, what is that? Is that some kind of like DARE organization, like where they're going to tell me that like absence is key?" And he's like, "No." So I went to the first meeting, and it turned out to be the group that allowed me to inject the passion that I have for drug policy reform into reality. And I joined SSDP. We do tons of kinds of education around know your rights on campus, Good Samaritan policy, and advocating for legalization. So from there, I met Jim Gregg over here, who kind of grandfathered me into the movement and gave me my first job on a medical marijuana campaign, Measure 74, which was in 2010 aimed to bring dispensaries to Oregon. And it's funny because that was probably the hardest campaign I've ever had to work on. I was the college outreach coordinator trying to convince college students to care about medical marijuana. That was really hard because if you know, I mean, students and college students have easier access to marijuana than anyone else, and that's kind of messed up. So for Measure 74, I kind of continued on. I worked with Jim on some other campaigns to elect the Attorney General that we have today, Ellen Rosenblum, who's a big friend of our movement. We defeated Dwight Holton, who was notorious for saying things along the lines of the medical marijuana program is a train wreck. Man, did we show him. He was on top. He was expected to win, and we beat him by about 15% in the polls. That's what you get when you say bad things about this movement. We will make sure you never get elected again. So beyond the Attorney General race, legalization came up, obviously, in 2012. Measure 80, it failed, but it got 47%. And a buddy and I helped start a political action committee to raise money for Measure 80. We raised a little over $10,000 in 6 weeks at the last moment, bought some billboards, did what we could. Despite the way that Measure 80 was written and some of the downfalls, of course, unlimited possession, unlimited growing isn't really a downfall, but it's probably not going to get a whole lot of votes from grandparents and soccer moms. But it got 47%. 47% of people in Oregon believed that we should be able to have unlimited possession of marijuana and unlimited growing over the age of 21. If that doesn't say where Oregon is going in the next couple of years, I don't know what does. So Measure 80, we got 47%, and then after that, the question was, what's next? What are we going to do? And we started looking towards the legislature. Like Cheryl had mentioned a couple of the bills that we've been working on. I got together with some of my political cohorts, and we kind of sat down and decided, what can we do next? What's the next pragmatic step? And obviously legalization is a big one. It's coming up, and I'll get to that in a second. But I want to talk about House Bill 3460, which I helped co-author with my political partner. And basically 3460, I mean, how many people know that, who all thinks dispensaries are legal in Oregon? Legal? Kind of. They're in a really big gray area, and that's one of the things that we wanted to fix, because safe access to medicine is one of the things that patients deserve here in Oregon. And right now, that doesn't really exist. I mean, if you live in Multnomah County, there's probably about 40 dispensaries operating. all operating in a gray area. And they're lucky because in Multnomah County, sheriffs have just said, we don't have time to deal with this. I wish those were the sheriffs everywhere. We've all probably heard of some dispensaries getting raided. It's still happening today. And that's why we co-authored 3460. 3460 places regulations around dispensaries. It brings them out of the shadows and into the light to where, you know, the Oregon Health Authority knows what's going on. You can't be 1,000 feet from a school, that kind of stuff. Stuff that's going to give legitimacy to dispensaries so they're not seen as these shadowy backdoor type of operations. And I'm sure there's plenty of them that aren't. There are a lot of great dispensaries out there, but we need to completely legalize them and take that next small step forward to show the public and the legislature that the sky isn't going to fall when we regulate marijuana. And I think, in my opinion, we start with medical marijuana dispensaries, and that's House Bill 3460. And then legalization. That's kind of the next thing. So how many people, I'm just curious, raise of hands, how many people think that we're going to legalize in 2016? 2014, right? 2014? Okay. So what's going on in the legislature right now? There is a bill in the legislature to legalize marijuana. It's 3371. I'll repeat that. 3371. There's a bill to legalize marijuana in Oregon. Go check that out. It's going through the legislature right now. It may not pass out of the legislature, but here's one of the cool little things that happens when you put a bill through the legislature. If it doesn't necessarily pass, because the legislator doesn't want to be the ones that are known for being the first legislator to pass legalization in Oregon, they can refer it to the voters. And then we don't have to collect signatures, and we don't have to spend millions and millions of dollars on doing huge ad campaigns and all that kind of stuff that has slowed us up in the past. We can directly just say, voters, this is legalization, vote yes or no, and then eventually, I think in the next 2 years, I think 2012, with gay marriage on the ballot and the governor being up for election, we could very well see a higher turnout, a higher voter turnout than we've ever seen in Oregon before in an off-presidential election. Now that is something that I'm getting excited about as far as 2012. Check it out, 3371. Call your legislators, send them an email. It doesn't hurt. You don't necessarily have to go in there and talk with them one-on-one. I know that's not a lot of people's thing, but let them know that you're paying attention. Because literally, if 5 emails are sent in the same day on the same subject, that legislator is listening to what you're saying. 5 people. You get 5 people to email your legislator on the same subject, and they start shaking. They know that you have political capital there. Because you know how many people go see their legislator every month from a certain district? Maybe 5. And if you're one of those 5 people that brings your issue to the table, they are going to listen to you. And if they don't, make sure they know that you're not going to elect them next time around. And that's my political spiel for the day. Legalize 2014, 3371. Thank you. Enjoy the weather.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made the second segment. We're here. We're back. It's like a bad debt. We got our friend Joseph, and we're all just coming back from a wild 4th of July weekend,
yeah,
and we're all recovering from it. Yeah, it was great.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Yes, definitely. My last segment, we talked about the Hemp Fest. I forgot to mention the dates. It's the 19th to the 21st of July. It's always the 3rd weekend in July, and it's at the Maury Jacobs Park, which will be across the river from Valley River at the end of the footbridge.
Yeah, also accessible by River Road.
Yes, there's 2 ways to get off of River Road. You can either turn on to North Polk or Fur Lane, which comes off of River Road. And so that's our 4th year in that park, and we've had really good luck with it, and people really like the park. It's on the river and a lot of shade. It's a beautiful park. And in getting ready for the Hemp Fest, as we do through our stuff, working on the Hemp Fest here, I set off for some printer ink on eBay. My old Hewlett-Packard color laser needed a black ink cartridge, so I got on eBay and I found a good one, a good price, and ordered it. And I got a note back, and I wanted to read this to show everybody on the show, because you never know where you're going to find support, and it's always fun when you do. Our username on eBay is Hemp Fest, and so I bought this cartridge from this guy in Kentucky, and he wrote, "Hemp Fest, huh? So what do you guys know about printer ink that you aren't telling the rest of us? He says, seriously, good luck with your mission. With the decrease in the revenue from fewer people smoking cigarettes, which have a proven detrimental effect on life, you'd think they'd be looking at bringing more products to market. Additionally, we would also realize associated employment increase, especially here in Kentucky, where they say it's the state's biggest cash crop. The former tobacco farms and farmers would again be productive. Also, to say nothing about the reduced cost of trying to chase down and prosecute small-time users and big-time peddlers. Thanks for the purchase. I'll get that to you in the morning, Howard. And I love this line. I got to remember this. Prosecute small-time users and big-time peddlers.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. It's all across the whole state, whole country.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. It's a lot of, some of the experiences with the Hemp Fest, you just never know. My username, eBay username, personal one is Freedom for 420, and I get comments on that one.
Nice, that's a good one. I like that one.
It's free. Yeah, it's Freedom FOR and then 420. So it's Freedom for 420.
Yeah, the 420 is always a good indication of where you might find support.
Exactly, definitely. So again, that's the Emerald Empire Hemp Fest. That's July 19th to the 21st. It's free to the public, family friendly. Now not non-alcoholic, so
yeah. Isn't there going to be a cool space for kids or like
we have the
we
have the children's play area. We'll have a face painter there, and in fact that was something I meant to mention on the second segment. I think I got sidetracked. We actually went and seeked out. How do you seek out? Yeah, seek. Anyway, we have a face painter coming to the Hemp Fest, and we gave them a booth space to help us with our Ganja girls. So now our Ganja girls now can go to a face painter and have whatever they want done, and that's part of the deal.
Nice.
So yeah,
that's awesome. Make them even more beautified, not like they need it at all.
Yeah, exactly. And then if people at the event like what they see with the Ganja girls, they could go to the face painter and have something done the same or similar for themselves if they like. So
yeah, I mean all the kids love to do it.
Oh yeah. So that's going to be neat. It's great ideas, and again that's our Nan, that's our operations manager, come up with great ideas, and we all definitely appreciate our Nan. So hats off to Nan.
Yeah, thank you, Nan.
That's right.
Couldn't do it without you.
She's going to kill me, but thank you anyway.
Gotta give credit where it's due.
Right, yeah, exactly. So anyway, and then the big news on the legislature that we talked about earlier is 3460 has passed both the Senate and the House.
Good job, guys.
Yes, good job. And in spite of the law enforcement lobby.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah. So the governor, we're waiting for the governor to sign it now, and I think, I understand he's going to sign it, but I haven't heard anything official. So
yeah, I haven't heard anything official, but I've also heard through the grapevine around the same thing. There shouldn't be any roadblocks this time around. And,
exactly.
In
1997, when the legislature recriminalized possession of less than an ounce, the governor said that he was going to veto it, and then when it came right down to it, he ended up signing it, and he signed it reluctantly.
Yeah, reluctantly.
And so I've been a little miffed at him more than that ever since. So
yeah,
maybe he'll do the right thing this time. I would say
everybody should keep the fire underneath him going and call him, email him, get your family too, even people from out of state, just in support of it. And
exactly.
Do as much as you possibly can.
We've had an excellent medical marijuana program since 1998. However, we don't have any distribution program. And that's the problem. We have no distribution. One of the people that wrote the original law told me at the time. He said this law is written to pass, not to work.
Yeah, I mean, a step in the right direction is a step in the right direction,
And we've been trying to fix it ever since. And we tried to 2 different times try to legalize dispensaries and didn't make it. So this time we went through the legislature and looks like we're going to make it. So
it looks like we had the momentum behind us, and
the
proper people to present it as well.
Things are really happening. After the election last year, things are really happening. And interestingly, but in Washington we can say, okay, it's great, pot's legal, but actually it's kind of not.
Yeah, it's kind of not.
Because the only way you can get it is to go through a state sanctioned store, but they haven't been set up yet. So,
right, they haven't been set up, and the places that are taking the the bull by the horns are looking at it the best way they can and operating as properly as they can, and they're going back and finding these they're nitpicking essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. So California, the way I understand it, is now they're saying that it'll be the first of the year when it takes effect. They're still working on the rules, trying to set the whole thing up. So
and California's been going going whatever way they want to go for a while now. I hear from a couple different people that their shops have anything from A to Z, and it's working for some places, and it's working not so good in other in other areas of California. But again, a step in the right direction is a step in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah, we definitely the end of prohibition. It didn't work last time, and so things are changing.
Yeah, and I heard there's some positive momentum down in Mexico, and as well as the United States. I haven't heard any solid facts or anything like that. But
yeah, I haven't heard anything lately, but you might have seen something that I haven't seen yet. But I do know that a lot of the Latin American countries are talking, saying that legalization is the way to go. Which
I saw a pretty cool bumper sticker earlier. It said, what did it say? It said, "Legalize our Constitution."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kind of like that one.
Yeah. I like the one that says, "If you're not outraged, you're not paying attention."
Yeah, that's a good one too. Everybody has to, we all have to educate ourselves and stand up for what we believe in.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a freedom issue. That's the way I've looked at it. I've been an activist for close to 15 years, and to me, it's always been a freedom issue.
Yeah, and I mean, if you tell, if you can't have your eggs without your chickens.
Yeah, it's like our friend Bobby Sixcrow says, and I quote him many, many, many times. He says, if we're going to make a plant illegal, let's make something illegal that we can all get behind. Something that's really nasty, like poison oak. Let's legalize. Let's make it illegal to have poison oak. On your property, you could have jail time, lose your property if you.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. I like that one too.
Yeah, it's a great point. I love it.
It's a plant. It harms people.
Yeah.
Let's make that one.
Bill Conde used to tell us that he had whenever time he stopped in a restaurant in Coburg, he said the farmers are in there eating, and they'd say, "Hey Bill," he said, "Hey Bill, when can we grow hemp? We need another crop. We're ready to go."
Yeah, I heard about that too. They're able to research it in a number of colleges now, and so that's very positive.
Yeah, things are changing. So, anyway, we're going to wrap up, and thanks for coming by tonight. And again, this is Joseph of the Greener Side on 1601 Oak Street. We're out of here. See ya.